Lately, I've been buying too much gear and running around in the woods like an idiot, so I figured I would talk to you guys about the lessons I have learned about battle belts, and then I can finally get rid of some of the extra stuff I've been accumulating. I've been testing and constantly reconfiguring 2 different belts with several different magazine carriers, medical pouches, and holster setups. Both of the belts I've been using are the Velcro attached dual layer type. With a 2-layer battle belt, all of the gear is attached to the outer belt using either belt clips or MOLLE. You thread the inner belt through your belt loops and then wrap the outer belt around it where it's secured in place by Velcro. There are also padded single-layer belts that may be more commonly referred to as war belts, though the terms are sort of interchangeable depending on where you go. The padding on the war belt is supposed to make it more comfortable and keep it in place. I opted to go with a 2-layer belt for stability, which is very important when drawing a pistol from a retention holster or pulling magazines out of retention pouches. The advantage of a war belt is that it's easier to wear outside of a jacket. Most of the time when I've been using the 2-layer belts, I've been tucking my hoodie and or jacket into my pants, which is not very attractive or comfortable. War belts will also be faster to put on, and they can probably carry more weight comfortably. The 2 belts I've been using are a Chinesium Ops tactical belt and a Blue Alpha Gear belt. Full disclosure, when I started working for TFB TV, Blue Alpha Gear sent me a free belt. It's the hybrid EDC belt that I wear every day. This double-layer belt I bought for full price myself, however. Blue Alpha Gear is awesome though, and I have no qualms recommending them to people. Both of these belts are theoretically MOLLE belts. The Ops belt has 3 rows of laser-cut webbing, 1 full-height row of MOLLE and 2 half-height rows. The Blue Alpha Gear belt has what you could call negative MOLLE or minus MOLLE. It has 2 sewn-on half-height MOLLE straps with a void between them. The blank space in the middle, however, is not actually as big as a row of MOLLE. You can still weave MOLLE pouches onto the belt, but they sit a bit weird, and the MOLLE straps on the pouch will bunch up in kind of an odd way. It's not the end of the world, but it might dissuade you from buying the MOLLE version of the Blue Alpha double-layer belt. Whether or not you want MOLLE depends on what you want to attach to the belt and how you want to attach it. Something to keep in mind with these belts is Velcro engagement. If you have a bunch of pouches attached with clips that occlude some of the MOLLE, the outer belt may not stay in place as well. The more surface area you lose, the less stable the outer belt will be. Both of these belts have Cobra buckles at the front, although it's definitely possible that the Ops belt is using a Cobra knockoff, since the finish is much less durable and a lot shinier. If it's a knockoff, it's a pretty good one. The Cobra buckles will scratch the shit out of your AR if you let it hang from a sling, but that's okay because battle wear is cool looking, and if the only reason you own guns is to post glamour shots to Reddit and Instagram, I don't know why you would even be watching this video. In terms of construction quality, the Blue Alpha belt is a lot nicer than the Ops. The Velcro is much stronger and the belt itself is much stiffer. There are plenty of other good belts out there. The Ronin Tactics Shuto belt is pretty much the exact same thing as the Blue Alpha. Esstac and Blue Alpha both make a double-layer belt with no MOLLE as well. I put together my rig based on the theory that the belt is first-line gear, basically the first thing to grab or the piece of gear you're most likely to have on. As such, the belt is primarily there to carry and support a pistol. The setup that makes the most sense for me is what's on the Blue Alpha belt right now. A pistol holster, some basic medical supplies, a tourniquet, a dump pouch, and a mag pouch with 2 pistol mags and 1 rifle mag. If you grab the belt and a rifle, you would end up with 1 rifle mag on the belt plus 1 in the gun, and a pistol with 2 mags on the belt and 1 in the gun, plus some first aid supplies. A chest rig or plate carrier is additional gear beyond that and is focused on more fully supporting the rifle. At first, I didn't want to dedicate any of my limited belt real estate to a dump pouch. I have a fairly small waist, which actually limits how much gear I can stack up on the belt line. That's something we'll talk more about later, but the dump pouch is definitely worth the space it takes up on the belt. Dropping mags in mud or losing them in snow while running drills just sucks. Alright, we'll start at the front of the belt and work clockwise. First up is the holster. The Ops belt currently has a G-code OSH holster for a G19, which is a level 0 friction retention holster. It's a pretty good holster, but it originally came with a belt slide which moved around too much and rode too high on the belt. I replaced it with G-code's optimal drop plate, which moves the gun down to a better position and has Velcro on the inside of the belt loop to keep the holster from sliding around. Once the belt is on, it's unlikely for any of it to move. The important thing is that it's easy to put on quickly if you don't have to adjust the position of any pouches. Unfortunately, the original optimal drop causes the gun to flap around way too much to get a clean draw, and it did not have a provision for attaching a thigh strap. I jury-rigged one together by weaving a thin thigh strap from a Bianchi M12 holster hip extender through the RTI wheel. It wasn't very comfortable, and it looked ridiculous, but it did work. The gun didn't move too much when running, and I could draw it without pulling the holster away from my body. A while later, G-Code started offering a thigh strap kit for the optimal drop, so I ordered one, only to find out that it's not actually compatible with the original optimal drop. So I ordered the new version of the optimal drop plate, only to find out that it's not compatible with the original RTI wheel hardware. So now we're at an impasse. The holster is currently attached directly to the optimal drop plate, and it all works very well and is very stable with the thigh strap, except that the holster is too close to the plate for a clean draw. If I want to attach it using the RTI wheel and hanger system, it will push the holster out a bit, making for a much better draw. But I'd have to buy a $5 set of hardware from G-Code, and the cheapest shipping they offer for it is $10, because apparently they'll happily send you a package smaller than a bag of Skittles stuffed inside a USPS medium flat rate. I'm not sure if it's coming through in my voice, but I'm kind of fucking sick of G-Code. Anyway, assuming I had the RTI wheel installed in this holster, it would function very well indeed. But the optimal drop belt loop does cost you a lot of Velcro engagement. And since this is where a lot of weight is hanging on the belt and where you do a lot of pulling, it does mean the belt can sag a bit on this side. For that reason, I would avoid the optimal drop and honestly the G-Code ecosystem entirely. The other belt has a Safariland holster for a G17 with a Streamlight TLR1. I forget the model number because the Safariland holster numbering system makes less sense than Smith & Wesson's model numbers on their old automatics. This one is an ALS retention holster with a thumb brake lever. It came with a plastic shield that covers up the top part of the pistol. That's not a feature I need, so I removed it. I have mine set up on a Safariland Low Ride universal belt loop with a T.Rex arms thigh strap. I tried it for a while on a mid-ride UBL and it didn't need the thigh strap, but it still might have been nice. I have the thigh strap woven right through the bolt attachments between the drop plate and the holster itself. I did experiment with the Safariland quick locking system and I didn't really care for it. The QLS allows you to quickly swap different holsters onto the drop plate, but that kind of seems like a YouTube reviewer thing, if you need to be able to test a bunch of guns and holsters on the same rig. The same could be said for the G-Code RTI wheel and RTI hanger, or the weird system that Blackhawk uses. For most of us, I think it makes more sense to build one rig for the gun you actually want to train with and use for serious purposes. The QLS pushes the holster out from your leg a little bit extra, and I didn't like it. It makes the gun flap around more when running, and it makes you wider. One last thing about the Safariland, the UBL doesn't cost you very much Velcro engagement at all. You can tell I care too deeply about Velcro engagement, can't you? Up next on the belt is the medical stuff. Both of these belts have some basic medical supplies and a tourniquet. When it comes to tourniquet holders, you can get them integrated with a first aid kit or standalone. I started out using a cat trap, which is basically bungee cords and a square of fabric. It's cheap, it's fast to draw from, and it does retain the tourniquet well, but it leaves it exposed. Next, I tried a direct action tourniquet holder, but I found it to be too bulky, and direct action's adaptive green isn't the same as either OD or Ranger green. It does have a lot of attachment options: vertical belt loops, MOLLE straps, or horizontal Velcro strap attachments. It might work well on a backpack strap, but I don't really like it on a belt. What I settled with was an elastic-style tourniquet hanger made by T.Rex Arms, though Blue Force Gear makes something exactly the same. Basically, it's an elastic hammock with a double-sided Velcro tab, which you sandwich between the two belt layers. I have mine at the 6 o'clock position under the IFAK pouch. As far as first aid kits go, I started out using a knockoff of the HSGI bleeder/blowout pouch made by Ops. It's a vertical MOLLE-attached pouch with a pocket for shears in the back. It works pretty well, but it does flap around a bit, and it's not as easy to get supplies out of it. You could taco some chest seals around a bandage and some combat gauze to fit them in there, but it's not ideal. The bleeder pouch is still on my backup belt, but the Blue Alpha gear now has an LBT/LBX medical pouch. The difference between LBT and LBX is where it's made. LBT stuff is made in the US in order to be Berry compliant. Otherwise, law enforcement or military agencies aren't allowed to buy it. I'm a civilian, so I can do whatever I want. The LBX is made in Peru and is much cheaper, but it's the exact same thing. The LBX medical pouch is MOLLE or belt loop attached and has a quick release tab that, when pulled, dumps the contents of the pouch out into your hand. It works pretty well, and even though it has a larger footprint, it packs down flatter than the other pouches I've tried. It's the perfect size for unfolded chest seals as well. A friend of mine had a BFG Micro Trauma Now kit and didn't like it, so he gave it to me and I tried it, and I didn't like it either. The size and attachment of the pouch is good, but the medical insert doesn't really stay in very well. I also tried a Coyote Burrito pouch, which has a Velcro flap to retain the medical insert, as well as an integrated elastic tourniquet holder underneath. I like this one a lot, but it has one major problem. It's attached via a single large belt loop, which costs you about 5 solid inches of Velcro engagement right at the 6 o'clock position where I wanted to attach it. A company called BCS makes a very similar pouch that uses MOLLE attachment instead. I think I would like that better, but I ordered one forever ago and it never showed up, so I think they forgot about me. If it ever actually gets here, I'll probably switch to that and get rid of the LBX. Up next on the belt is a dump pouch. These are all pretty much the same, and there's not much that can go wrong with them, so we'll skip straight to ammo carriers. The Blue Alpha belt has my preferred setup, which is an Esstac KYWI 2-pistol, 1-rifle mag carrier. This is not the gap version with space between the pistol mags. Glock base plates aren't big enough to cause a problem when they're this close together. The Esstac KYWIs can be attached with plastic belt loops or MOLLE-compatible WTF straps. The plastic belt loops don't stay in place well enough for my liking, and guess what? They cost you Velcro engagement in a crucial spot on the belt. WTF straps are a pain to set up, but afterwards they work fine and keep the pouches solidly in place. The other belt is running 2 G-Code Scorpion rifle mag carriers and 1 Scorpion pistol carrier. The Scorpions do have some advantages over KYWIs. G-Code offers a ton of different clip attachment options. These are using the R3 and P3 clips, which are a perfect fit for a dual-layer 1.75-inch belt. Scorpions are also more flexible than KYWIs, so this might be a good idea if you're using oddly sized pistol magazines like 5.7 by 28 mags or 7.62 AK mags in the rifle pouches. The downside to Scorpions is that they're bulky. This isn't a fair comparison since the KYWI is 2 pistol 1 rifle and the Scorpions are 2 rifle 1 pistol. But generally, Scorpions will take up more belt real estate for the same number and type of mags than the KYWIs will. And if you're using the belt clips like this, you lose Velcro engagement right where a bunch of weight and stress on the belt is. I bet you're sick of me talking about Velcro engagement. Well, too bad. If you're planning to put together a battle belt setup, keep in mind that you won't really know how it works unless you run around and shoot with it on. I recommend it. It's fun and informative. Battle belts are kind of like that old adage about holsters. When you start carrying a gun, everybody tells you you're going to end up with a lot of extra holsters that don't work. And you may think that sounds crazy, but after a year of carrying a gun, you're going to have a lot of extra holsters that didn't work. You won't know just from watching a video on YouTube what gear is actually going to work for you, so don't be afraid to get stuff, try it out, and get rid of it if it doesn't work. I'm excited to be done with this video so I can offload the backup rig and all my G-Code shit. I am completely over G-Code at this point. Fuck those guys. But also keep in mind that no setup is going to be perfect, and you might have to use it a few times before you get used to it. Or it's time to settle. Alright, buddy? Alright. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Catch you later. Hey, it's a little fucking cold out here. Beep. Whoa, yeah. That's some terrain. All the way up to 4.